Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I'm Todd, this is Yaron. We're coming to you straight from Provincetown today. We have nothing on the screen. Technical difficulties, 1 second.
Here we go.
Sorry guys, hi. Happy Sunday, I'm Todd, this is Yaron. We're coming to you straight from Provincetown. We are your musical guests. We want to kick things off with something will hopefully feel uplifting for you. Here we go.
Hey guys, we're gonna have to reboot this. Let's see what's going on. It all sounded great in rehearsals, but now we can't hear anything you're doing. So let's get you resettled. We're doing an experiment here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. We're having an experiment from Provincetown with our fantastic musician friends, Yaron Spiewak and Todd Alsop. So guys, let's try that again.
Can you hear us now?
We can hear you.
Yes, and
We got to figure it out.
Let's try it again. Good morning, everyone.
Keep on getting so turn, keep on worrying, worlds keep on turning. It won't be too long. No, no. Power. Keep on.
you people keep on dying. Well, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Hey, oh, I'm so done, can't let me try it again. 'Cause my last time on earth I lived a world of sin. I'm so glad I don't know more than I'm gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground.
Teachers, keep on teaching.
Yeah, and the preachers keep on preaching.
World,
Yeah,
keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long.
oh no.
Lovers, yeah, keep on loving.
And believers keep believing.
Sleepers, yeah, just stop sleeping. 'Cause it won't be too long. No,
so darn glad I let me try it again. 'Cause the last time on earth I let a hold of a sin. I'm so glad that I know more and I do then. And I'm gonna keep on trying till I reach the highest ground. Yeah, 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 yeah. Keep the highest ground.
Say, till I reach my highest ground.
Reach my highest ground.
Ain't nobody gonna bring me down. No, 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 no.
Keep on reaching, yeah.
There we go. Had to climb a little bit to get to that higher ground, but we got it going. Look at Todd with his little puppy face saying, "Oh, that was fantastic, gentlemen. Good morning to you."
Good morning.
I think it's actually good afternoon to you, correct?
It is indeed.
It is indeed. It's 12:34 p.m. in Provincetown on a Sunday morning there. So I know that people are out having brunch, and hopefully it's a beautiful day there. And it's a charming town that I know that each of you are in doing, in essence, summer residencies, correct?
Yes, indeed.
And so it was your own suggestion that you guys do a morning together, and I'm so glad you did, and we're so excited to have you here as our guest
Like our
musical
first
artist,
collaboration.
two of our beloveds. So, how are you gentlemen feeling?
Shot out of a cannon. But we're settled
Well,
in now.
that's-
We're happy to be here, and we're happy to be with all of you guys.
We're happy that you're here, and know that sometimes being shot out of a cannon is a good thing because you get to fly high to higher ground and get a new perspective. So, well, good. Well, I know you have wonderful things planned for us this morning. I'm so looking forward to hearing it and sharing it. Take a deep breath, check all your teleconnections there, and know that it's all good. We talked about this earlier in rehearsal this morning. We're just going to roll with things and just trust it all. We have a fun morning planned for all of us, and look forward to sharing that with you.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And it is indeed Sunday morning, or it may not be morning where you are, but Sunday indeed. And we come together on Zoom, our technological platform to present who and what we are on Sunday mornings, as well as we're live streaming through YouTube. And a big welcome to all of you, whether you are joining us live in person right now or at a later date. As I said before, we have a beautiful time together planned. We have the one and only Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt here as well with us today. She and I are going to continue a program that we had put on hold for a while called Conversations with Dr. Keith, and I'm really excited to share that with Dr. Maureen later in the service with all of you. And so just know that exactly where you are right here and right now is the perfect place, that you're in your perfect space, and that the power of the divine is expressing itself in all of its glory and all of its magnificence and all of its peace and power by means of you, right here and right now. And so just give yourself a moment to honor that power that is within each and every one of us as we kick off our service. I'm going to put on the screen some slides to take us through our welcoming and opening service this morning before we hear more music from Yaron and Todd. So here we go. And so we are known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We are a community that comes together to do our best to fulfill our vision statement, which is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We like to greet each and every one of you as we greet each other and greet ourselves on a Sunday morning through the act of namaste. It's the honoring of that power that exists within us. And I love the graphic on this screen that is so vibrant in its colors and showing that as we each tune into the power We not only feel the presence of that which is within us, but we get to open up and know that it is expressing itself in all of its multi-dimensionality of its oneness in life itself. So I invite each of us, no matter where you are in your life, unless you're on the road driving, to take a deep breath in and close your eyes. That feels good to you. Put your fingers together as showing on the screen, the third finger and the thumb together, feeling that essence of the power that exists in our third eye, which is being shown on the screen, and bring our hands together as we inhale together and exhale, leaning forward, saying together, Namaste. The power of the divine that exists in me, I honor and acknowledge that which exists in you. And we each see that as we engage in this exchange, how that vibrational frequency of the thing itself comes to life within us. And that which we feel and know emanates from us, lighting the pathway for transformation in life. And so we welcome you into our space this morning. As a community, we teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. Just recently, I was with counseling clients this week, and they're like, what is the science of mind? Science of Mind is a compilation of all the great teachings of the world, spiritual teachings of the world, by Dr. Ernest Holmes, and put together in a book. I'll show you the book. This is the book, and it's called The Science of Mind. You're getting a little strange graphics there on the screen, but the primary focus of this teaching, philosophy, faith, and way of life is that there's only one thing taking place in life, one power, one energy, and that we individualize that energy, and to the best of our ability as we tune into it, if you will, through our thinking, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with life itself, the more and more that we reveal its nature through us. In our teaching, we like to look at its nature having the following qualities, but not being limited to those, of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And so we experience those as we express those because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, and meaning that the law of life responds to us by corresponding to our state of being, our actions, our reactions, our interactions with the very thing itself. And so our purpose in life is to practice doing just that by opening ourselves up more and more and more to the power that we're imbued with and letting it out to play. And we do that by opening up to being more and more of it consciously and purposefully and intentionally. And then to consciously align ourselves to finding more and more personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, our vision statement, indeed. And so today, that's what we're all called to do here. We're invited in to become more and more tuned in to knowing who we are as divine beings and to express our divinity in a way that makes a difference on our planet by making a difference within our own life and ultimately making a difference in the lives of others, and by staying conscious to the best of our ability on our journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, and by engaging in forgiveness when we feel like we haven't lived up to the highest that is possible for each and every one of us. And so let's move into our ritual that will give us an opportunity to do just that. Our ritual is called Calling in the Light. As we saw in the previous graphic on the screen of the energy within the third eye, that is one expression of light itself. Another that we all are familiar with is a candle, the flickering flame. I like to look at this flickering flame, the one that's in the orb on the screen, in a way that reminds us of the light of life that exists within each and every one of us. And so when we use the language of calling in the light, it's not actually bringing it into us, it's bringing in an awareness of the power that exists within us. And so today, as we begin our ritual of calling in the light, we remember that we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit in our teaching. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. So as we feel the vibrations shift during this experience, may we each become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life. This includes you, and it includes me. So as we feel this presence, I invite us all to just know that light is here and present. The acronym that I like to use for light is living in God's healing truth. Today I invite you to open your mind to the power of the divine, God, as being an impersonal, infinite, omniscient power with no capacity or ability to judge, to withhold, or to be punitive. In our teaching, we practice and encourage us to use language that's affirmative and declarative. Yaron and Todd are going to come on the screen and take us through the song, Calling in the Light. This song has space in it for each one of us to affirm our own personal nature with it. And so as soon as I can get that part of my screen to show up, where I can
We're not the only ones.
mute it, mook it, then we will fix that. So I have found that. Please take a deep breath and let these gentlemen take us through that song and sing along as it feels right to you.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
I am love,
I am peace.
in my heart,
I am free.
I am spirit,
I'm spirit. I am soul.
all together.
We are all calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, yeah. Calling in the light of love. And so it is.
So it is, and
So it is.
yeah. And so
So
it
it
is,
is.
and so it is.
Ah, so lovely. I love the way the two of you harmonize together. I can tell it's very natural for you.
Like we've been making music our whole lives. We're brothers from another mother.
I know that. But as you were just singing harmony together, I thought to myself, it's so nice to see you guys in Provincetown together. We've seen you together in LA, but then I realized we haven't. Todd, we've only had you on Zoom.
Yep, that's true.
So this is an even bigger moment that we get to share with the two of you.
Thank you for
So-
that gift. Like, it's our first time collaborating, and it's been a wonderful experience. Such an amazing musician, and
Yeah. Well, you both are. So as I shared with you earlier, I think you're going to have to take that show on the road.
yeah, I'm up for
The
it.
Ron and Todd show. So you guys have intentionally picked songs that you wanted to share with us today. The next song, can you tell us about it?
It's perhaps a song that you've heard. With your theme today about like sort of glowing and growing, and we looked at The Rose by Bette Midler. And it gave us an opportunity to sing some more harmonies for you, which we're excited to do.
Yes.
It's one of my all-time favorite songs, so I'm so glad you chose it.
Hold, give us 1 second while we're
We're
switching.
just doing the switcheroo.
Okay. We're rolling. You know, our theme for the month is grow, glow, flow as spirit. So this is perfect. It's all unfolding through us and before us.
We want to give you a little bit of everything and everyone.
I love it. Here we go.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed.
It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give. And the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows,
Lies the seed that's with the sun of
and
the spring
becomes
the rose.
So visceral and real. Beautiful, gentlemen.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Thanks. So as I said earlier, we're bringing in today. Hold on, I just need to do one thing. That was bugging me, and I forgot to do it. Closing that door. I'd like to bring to the screen one of my dearest friends on earth. She is a peer. She's an associate, and she's a teacher as well. The one and only Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt. Hello, Dr. Maureen.
Good morning, everybody.
We all, if you're familiar with the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, you're familiar with Dr. Maureen Hoyt. She's been a vital piece of our community as a global minister that she is, and has been a part of this community since its inception, I believe, having been a peer, an associate, and a dear friend of our founding member, Dr. David Walker, and has been supportive over many years, and has had her own church/communities in Granada Hills and in Westlake Village, and is now supposed to be living the life as a retired minister, but she's working all the time. She's somewhere speaking on a Sunday all the time, not to mention all she does in the middle of the week. Hello, my love.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you 2 days in a row.
I know we had lunch yesterday with your family and
Yes.
your extended family, the one and only beloved Reverend Mark Johnston, who's was in town for about an hour and 14 minutes, right? And his beloved husband Ryan. And so it was good to see them and see you.
Yes. Yes, it was. It was a lovely lunch. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, it was. Very lovely.
Yes.
Very lovely. Well, I'm so happy to share this time with you today. You and I do this type of conversation all the time, just in general, just you and I. But it's
Mhm.
wonderful to be able to share this with our community and with the objective of bringing something new to the table from our insights and inspiration. You asked me yesterday what I was going to do, and I said I have a couple of things in front of me to see, and we'll just roll with it. Has been the plan this morning. But what came to me first was to ask you a couple of questions about
Okay.
your journey of spirituality that can be an inspiration or an example for others. I know you've been a minister now for many years. Uh,
Yes.
you can decide if you want to tell us how many years or not.
30, actually last month,
Congratulations.
30th anniversary. Yep.
That's fantastic. So, in regards to being in ministry, but also being a conscientious practitioner of this teaching, tell us a couple of things that have evolved for you in regards to our teaching.
So I think about when I first became a practitioner. I started roughly in 1973 at Founders Church. Was my very first visit to a religious science church. And not to say that I'm not a quick study, but it took me all the way until 1993 to become a minister.
Uh-huh.
Life got in the way. I had children. I had a husband. I worked outside the home. I did all of those things, but I was constantly taking class. And I think that might be the thing that changes everything for everybody. Because after taking Science of Mind 100, probably 5 times, Ernest Holmes rewrote the Science of Mind every time I took the class.
I know.
And there was something new in there and something that didn't catch my eye before because my awareness of principle was less and became greater. And then all of a sudden there it was in front of me in the Science of Mind textbook, if you will. So I think it's really about taking class. It's about continuing studying and continuing on the journey of personal self-discovery. When you think about a little baby that's learning how to walk, first, they grab onto furniture and walk from furniture to furniture, and they keep falling down. They don't just stay down. They don't say, well, I'm not doing that anymore, right? They pick themselves up and they walk again. And I think that when we're on a journey of self-discovery, that's what we have to do. The Buddhists say that fall down 7, get up 8. And so there's that idea that we have to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Life isn't about being stagnant. Life is about forward movement in some form or another.
So the second part of that question is, okay, so that's what's evolved for you. What are a couple of things that have stayed the same?
Well, I did a workshop with Greg Lavoie. If some of you know of his work, Callings and Vital Signs, and he did a workshop on the stories we tell ourselves. And at the break, I went up to talk to him. He's a personal friend of mine and has been since I first read Callings. I became a fan. And I went up to him and I said, Greg, he said he wanted us to pick the one story that keeps repeating itself in our lives, right? So I went up and I said to him, Greg, I said, I found about 5 stories that I could write about. And he started laughing so hard. He said, only 5? Are you kidding me? But we do have, what have we come here to practice mastery over? I guess that's the question. You know, in the 4 quadrants, is it relationships? Is it money? Is it health? Is it creative expression? What have we come to practice mastery over? And for me, I think I kind of have relationships handled. I have money pretty much handled. I have creative expression handled, but I continue to be confronted with the limitations of the physical body. And so that's currently what I'm working on for the first time in my adult life. And I just want to say to everybody, it's never too late to have a happy childhood, because the progress that I've made since the first of the year actually started in December. It has been remarkable. And the process has been simple because I'm using all the things that I've learned all through these years with Ernest Holmes to see me through this. I just wasn't ready to do it before. So I think we all have something that we're working on.
You know, thank you. And I know that you're on a journey right now that's revealing itself in your being.
Yes.
I could sense it yesterday when we came together. It was like we all came together, and there was lots of energy, as we would hope there would be, and then all of a sudden, poof, we were gone. Right? I mean, even like I went to the restroom and came back, and you were gone. You know, after you were gone, I thought, God, Momo, you're so vibrant right now, but you're vibrant in a way that is a result of what feels to me like internal peace.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not thinking about being calm and vibrant. You just are calm, but then that vibrancy.
Yes.
So I'll say, I've been a minister. Wow, you've been a minister for 30 years. I've been a minister now for 22, 21, 22, something like that. And what's evolved for me in regards to our teaching has been, as I said earlier, and one of the things I was saying in our calling in the light is grasping an understanding of the multidimensionality of oneness.
Yes.
Really is something that forever and ever is stimulating me, and it allows me to deepen my desire to engage in this teaching more and more and more and more. And one of the things that stayed the same is the I'm trying to figure out how to word this, but the celebration, if you will, that God is impersonal.
Yeah.
Right? I even get tears when I say that. That was so revelatory for me when I found it in 1982, right? And to this day, that still has the same impact on me.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just profound to me. Profound.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So one of the things yesterday before we met for lunch, I was part of a memorial service for my friend Jonna's dad, who passed away on the 28th of May. And it's just so interesting to me how memorial services, being celebrations of life, we laughed through the whole service because one of the nephews is a movie guy who does independent documentaries, but he's also a comedian. And so when he got up to talk about his granddad, it was so funny. I never laughed so hard in my life at a memorial service, but everything that he spoke about was true. And one of the things that has come up so vibrantly for me in the last little bit is I have a really good friend who's an Episcopal priest, Father Leo Booth. Some people might know who he is. But he said something profound. He said, when we begin to understand that we were intended to have a superlative life experience, he said, wherever I am, that is where the center of the universe is. Wherever I am, that is where meaning has its beginning. To know that I have a purpose in this world, to know in every fiber of my being that I am important and unique, to know that without me, the world would not be the same. that is my legacy. There you go.
That's beautiful. Maybe not so easy to accomplish all the time, but
Right,
beautiful.
right.
Yeah. I love the way spirit works because you started talking about memorial service. And my second question for you, which you just answered a little bit, was that people often ask us in the teachings of the Science of Mind, do we believe in an afterlife? And since you just did a memorial service, not that you don't already have the answers to this, but can you share your insights and thoughts on this?
Well, having been raised Catholic, I was very versed in the idea if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're not good, you go to hell. And that was very clear in the 50s and 60s Catholic tradition. Things have changed a little bit over the last little bit. And my brother actually went to school with the Jesuits in Santa Rosa. Very mystical, very much more mystical than traditional Catholicism or Christianity. And yesterday, Reverend Bonnie Rose was the facilitator, and she spoke to the congregation, about heaven and hell being states of mind that we experience on this plane of consciousness. The soul is forever evolving. The soul never dies. So Ernest Holmes said, we could have as many as 20,000 soul incarnations in us. And that certainly would speak to my children about when they asked me when they were little, Mom, what blah, 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 blah. Ask me a question and I would give them the answer. Well, how do you know that? That was their next stock and trade answer. I just know it because it's in there. In my Akashic record somewhere, I learned blah, blah. Anyway, yesterday it was very interesting to see how for the most part, everyone in the congregation reacted to this idea that there's no place that you go to, that, the soul evolves. And Ernest Holmes doesn't speak to reincarnation very much at all in the Science of Mind, but he had certain belief systems about the soul being reincarnated at some later time. And I'm rambling, but I don't know. Am I answering your question?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yes, I'm going to say yes, you are answering it. And I agree with the concept of I don't know that I can say that it doesn't go somewhere because I don't know the answer to that. Because it makes sense to me that if it came here, it could go somewhere else.
Yes.
Right? So, but what I like to believe, because of my Akashic records, if you will, is that if it goes wherever it goes, I go with it.
Yes.
But I'm not bound by the construct of this time and space continuum.
Right.
Right? So there again, going back to the multi-dimension, it's like there's two principles here. One is there's oneness, right? And within that oneness, there's multi-dimensionalities.
Yes.
And so it seems logical to me that there's possibility that my soul expresses itself in its next expression, right? As it moves on. What that construct is, I have no idea, nor do I really want to know. Because I think that's part of what, having been taught what your potential afterlife is going to be, creates such a limiting way of looking, right? And
I couldn't agree more.
And what we're taught in this teaching and philosophy is to focus on the unlimited, not the limited, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that really what we're taught to constantly be fine-tuning to reveal that place within us that is unlimited?
Yes.
That is ultimately our objective here, right?
Yeah. So in the early 90s, there was a book called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield.
Yeah.
Actually, that book changed my life. Honestly, it did. Because it wasn't well written and the characters lacked depth, but the principles behind what he was talking about in the book, we've created a whole series of classes on it. I might have to revisit that in the next little bit. But what James Redfield got is what you were saying, is that we're not going to take the physical body wherever this place is that we're going to go, but it's our energy. And basically, if we all look the same, we would have to recognize people by their energies. And it proves the point when you walk into a room and there's one person that just drives you nuts, and you just immediately dislike that person. So it's not really about not liking the person, it's about the fact that your energies don't mesh. And so that's freed me up to be able to say sometimes I like certain people more than I like other people. But it's about the energy of the person. And I think the soul, the energy of who we are, transcends time and space, as Ernest Holmes said. And that if there is a place that we go to, it's sort of like a holding tank, if you will, for the next incarnation, maybe. Carol Carnes used to tell a wonderful story about different souls that get incarnated and brought to the earth plane. And I'm not going to go into the story right now, but suffice it to say, she soothed the savage beast in many of the people in our movement because of the story that she told, because it was reasonable. We're always looking for something logical or reasonable. And sometimes spirituality is illogical and unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the aspect of energy, and of course, we've all had the experience where we've either walked into a room or had someone else walk into the room where we didn't connect to their vibrations, right?
Yes.
We know that, right? I was working with some clients this week, and we're having, as a couple, we're having some serious issues of being in the same place in their mind and soul and heart and being. And so I pulled up the map of consciousness and I said, pick which words speak to you. And they did. And they were in radically different places on the map, right? And I said to him, okay, now here is why these issues are existing.
Yes.
So we need to find some place, if we can, if you want to stay together as a couple, right? We need to find some congruency in consciousness. That's really what we need to find. We can find that that's true for all of us in life if we want to have that dissonance healed. Just recently, I've had some experiences where I've been able to witness people that I have previously had dissonance, we'll call it that, with. And once I learned about the story of their life, and we know we all have stories, right? The story of their life, for lack of better terms, quantifies why their energy is the way it is, right? And once I heard the story, I was able to move into a state of forgiveness. So it doesn't mean I want to hang out with them, but I was able to view it through a different lens, right? It gave me the opportunity to forgive myself as well and say, wow, like I see it all makes sense now. I'm not judging them. I'm just having a new assessment of it, right?
Yeah.
And then have compassion. I was able to have compassion in a way that I didn't before, which I think then really isn't about them. It brings solace to me.
Yeah.
Gives that opportunity.
Yeah.
Our next question for us is, what is your advice or guidance for anyone who's felt as if they've been betrayed or wronged in life?
Well, that's one of those sort of catch-22 things. That when we feel betrayed by someone, it's an unmet expectation. It's a totally unmet expectation. Or we feel wronged by somebody, it's an unmet expectation. Now, if there is a possibility of conversation with that person to come to that place that you just mentioned, something that happened in the past to them, they were acting out and it showed up as betrayal or feeling wronged about something, then you're light years ahead of anyone else, because it's really rarely about me. It's always about the other person, and the other person given the opportunity to explain their behavior, because betrayal is a behavior. doing wrong to somebody is a behavior. That person is acting out in a way that is inconsistent with their perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And so to step back
Say
as
that statement again.
that a person is acting out in a way that's inconsistent with their perfection.
So maybe if we have people that are watching that aren't really familiar with our teaching, speak to the perfection piece so they'll
Well, the perfection is the God presence within each one of us.
got it.
You know, there used to be, gosh, when I first came into the science of mind, we would get beat up by our teachers with a metaphysical hammer. What's in your consciousness? How did you create that? You know, kind of what's wrong with you? Well, what's
You mean
wrong with
they're by
me?
them betraying us?
Yes, yes. You're so funny. You're a good prompter. But the thing about that is, if I can separate the person from the behavior,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have a 2-year-old that's acting out in inappropriate ways. I had one. You know, I had a daughter first who was a piece of cake. I could take her anywhere. She was amenable to everything. She didn't go to sleep until 10 o'clock at night, so we could still go out to dinner, all those things. And then Nathan came along, and he was like Curious George. He was in everything, doing everything. And Heather said to me one time, she was 5 years older than him. She goes, Mom, he's like Curious George. He's not trying to be a bad boy. He just wants to investigate things. Well, it was his behavior. It wasn't that I stopped loving him, but sometimes his behavior was just reprehensible. I used to put my hands on my hips and I would say to him, Nathan, I am appalled and chagrined and dismayed at your behavior. I wish I could do that to some of my adult friends.
Uh-huh.
And he would say to me, Mom, don't yell at me. Well, I wasn't yelling. And he said, but you're using those big words and I don't know what they mean. So sometimes I would like to put my hands on my hips with some of my adult friends and say I'm appalled and chagrined and dismayed at your behavior. Behavior separate from the intrinsic person, the God person within. And I would say to you that sometimes I know that we have people in our lives where you think, you know, I know you're in there somewhere, God, but it's a damn fine disguise that you're to the world, you know. So yeah.
I have a quote for us from Joel Goldsmith. And as you know, because you've edited them for many years, or for a while,
Yes.
my daily text. And this is one that we've used a couple of times, and there's a couple of prominent metaphysicians, shall I say, who have gotten annoyed with the words that are in here. So I'm going to read it to you and see if you know which word it is, and then tell me your thoughts on this quote. Grace is not something that is given to us or withheld from us. Grace is a state of being which comes into active expression the moment consciousness has been purified, just as the law of gravity comes into operation when an object is dropped.
Yes. So consciousness being the definitive word, because consciousness, as defined by one of my teachers, is the sum total of everything we've ever believed to be the truth about ourselves up to this point in time. Now, nobody can be out of principle. Nobody. And the grace of this is that we are, we all have the ability to change. We all have the ability to have a different experience of life. The moment we are willing to bring our structure of knowing to the conscious level and see where it's been errant in our use of it in our lives, then we get to embody this idea of grace. And grace is, is unique to each one of us. How we experience that, when we experience it, and why we experience it. Why is the greater question that speaks to the heart. When when we can answer the why question, why did this happen? Why am I who I am today? And what is it, who is it I'm becoming? When we can answer those questions, that's a moment of grace in and of itself. So
So the word that has thrown them for a loop has been the purified word.
yes.
And I just came to the realization as you were talking, what that means here is it's not that consciousness is unpure. It's when we are willing to let anything that's contradictory to the qualities of the divine that's in our consciousness disappear, right? So going back to the map of consciousness, right? The highest levels we can tune into of forgiveness or willingness or love or trust or optimism, right? Or being willing to tune into our innate qualities of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and wisdom. That's what it means by purifying, of turning to that. And when we turn inward to that, what then creates a shift in our being, and then what shows up reflects that shift. That's, to me, what the grace is. But I also think the grace is just simply having the ability to do that, right? Just having the ability to do that brings forth the opportunity to experience grace. Grace is traditionally defined as a blessing from God, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at it as a blessing from that which is impersonal, it's just it responding to what we're placing upon it.
So when I embody the idea of grace for myself, then I can see it for you. I could see it for anybody.
Right.
But I do think that Goldsmith was right that, you know, every person that comes to us, we have to meet them where they are in consciousness, not where we are in consciousness.
Say that again, because that is really profound.
Yes. Well, every person that comes to us, any person who sits in our congregation, anybody who requires spiritual mind treatment, prayer, anybody who wants counseling of any kind, we have to meet them where they are in consciousness. And by doing that for them, it helps them to see where they are, how far they've come, where they are now, and where the possibilities are for them in the future. You know, that's why I love that quote by Father Leo Booth. Wherever I am, that is where the center of the universe is. Wherever I am, that is where meaning has its beginning.
So I'd like to take that a little deeper, and let's expand on it. We'll just go with expanding on it. That it's not just meeting people in our congregation. It's not even just meeting people.
Everyone,
it's meeting all of life, right? It's meeting all sentient beings where they're at. What comes up for me in that moment are people that are on the street and challenged, right? And so, or animals that come in snarling, right? It doesn't, we're not saying one is to accept their behaviors, right? It's not allowing ourselves to be put in a dangerous situation, but it's, you said, meeting them in consciousness where they are, right? What we're taught in this teaching is that it's in the field of consciousness where healing transpires.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's meeting them in consciousness there, and it's not saying you reach out and shake your hand and saying, I just want you to know I'm lowering my consciousness so that we can communicate. It's not that. It's lowering your vibration, if you will, your awareness to a place to meet, so that you can then draw it up to a higher level, right? So that we can engage in that healing, right? Healing, as Holmes says, is the act of revealing the wholeness of life.
Yes.
Right? So it's really stepping into the role, I say role, but into the role, meaning the way that we engage as a practitioner, right? That's what we're trained to do in that moment, is to reveal wholeness. Right?
Yes. Yes. So I take issue with one thing you said.
Oh, good.
I mean, this is my turn this time. You did it last time, so I get to do it this time. It's not a matter of higher or lower consciousness. It's a matter of expanded consciousness.
Good.
You know, because you know, when you might say to somebody, and I used to hear this, oh, he's a person of high consciousness. as opposed to what? As opposed to what? So I like the idea of, just in a visual in my head, standing in the middle. When I first came to the teaching, I was standing in a very small circle, a very small circle. And then as I studied and moved forward, the circle got bigger. And then what happens is that circle intertwines with your circle and with Wendy's circle and with your own circle and with who else is on here? Uh, Travis's circle. So our circles intertwine, and we know who our tribe is by the intertwining of those circles of consciousness. So there.
So I thank you for that. I appreciate that. Not that I feel like I need to defend what I said, but but when I say higher or lower, I'm not using it I'm using it in reference to the map of consciousness. That's how.
Yes, of course.
Because I just use that so frequently. But thank you for clarifying so that we have clarity on that. So we're going to close with this concept. So I believe that you and I have presented to each other and to everyone listening in our circles as they expand new ideas.
Yes.
We've done that because that was the objective here. The next quote that I have for us that we can build on as we finish is by Charles Brouwer. And I love this quote. And he says this: a new idea is delicate. It can be killed by a sneer or a yawn. It can be stabbed to death by a quip and worried to death by a frown on the right person's brow. So I went on to say, what new idea can we let make itself known through each of us today? Can today be the day to not frown, quip, sneer to newness? What does any of that say to you?
Well, I think that sometimes our ideas get squashed by other people because they're afraid. Their tendency of, I was raised by an unskilled mother, as I've often said. And if I had an idea about something I wanted to do, my mother was on it like, no, you can't do that. And it was never, well, give it a try and see how that works for you. There's no handbook for raising children. I get that. But that idea that I had was also squashed because my older sister, bless her heart, I had lunch with her on Friday. She was a prodigy. And to live up to what my sister's ability to remember things, my sister's musical abilities, her writing abilities, her artistic abilities, she's just amazing, just amazing. So here's the thing. Okay, I'm all tangled up in my head right now. In my heart, I know unequivocally that an idea whose time has come cannot be defeated. Cannot be defeated. Because if I have the desire, I make the decision, and I have the demonstration. Desire plus decision equals demonstration. Raymond Charles Barker taught us that. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't tell your ideas to people who are going to just be the naysayers. Only do that with those people that support you and encourage you and love you. And it's taken me a long time to learn that. I was indiscriminate about who I shared my ideas with. And then they squashed them, and I didn't pursue them further. So I know that we've all had that experience, but find a group of people who are the encouragers, because those are the people that are heart-centered, and those are the people who will know for you until you can know it for yourself.
Thank you. My response to all of that is true, and I agree with you. And what I invite everyone that's joining us today or at a later date is to give yourself the gift of having a new idea around your spiritual nature and what's possible for you, each of us in life. And know that it's okay to have that be baby steps.
Yes,
It's okay for that to be a quantum leap.
yes,
Failure is okay.
Yeah.
But give yourself the gift of that today, because that's really what we're drawn to be here, is an ever evolving state of consciousness, right? That is really what we're here. And just as we started this conversation with things that have stayed the same and things that have evolved in regards to this teaching, this philosophy, this way of life, it truly is by growing that we have the ability to reveal our divinity in a new way. Our theme for this month has been grow, glow, and know as spirit. And so let's all do that. Thank you so much for being here today.
thank you for having me here today. I always love spending time with you, but I also love spending time with every other person in this group and knowing that, as Leo Booth said, without each one of us, the world would not be the same.
That's so true. That's so true. You know, maybe you and I, well, I should be indiscriminate about the idea I was about to share. Well, I will tell you what came up for me. I will put it out there. Maybe it would be fun if you and I did a 2 or 3 week class together.
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Oh, I would love that. Are you kidding me?
So,
I would love that.
well, that seed has been planted, and we know that Deepak Chopra tells us that inherent within the seed of intention is the fulfillment of its desire.
Yes. Yes.
With that. All right, well, we're going to bring Todd and Yaron back home because they are 3 hours ahead, and I know they've got lots going on and shows tonight and all of that, and I'm sure they've been dancing in the background. So, Yaron and Todd, share your next song for us, and then I'll come back in just a moment. See you in a bit, Dr. Maureen.
That's not the start of our song. It's one of those days, everybody. Here's the song.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counting, don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be brave, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know is love will save the day.
Hear what your mother said, read the books your father read, try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some have made more cash than you, others have a different view. Oh my, yeah.
You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know is love will save the day. Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. The world keeps on turning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is the danger, staring you in the face. Yeah. Remember, listen as your day unfolds.
Challenge what the future holds.
Try and keep your head up to the sky.
Lover that may cause you tears.
Go ahead, release your fears. My, oh my, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wise. all I know is love will save the day.
All I know is love will save the day.
The day.
How fabulous. There's love right there where the two of you are. Oh, how sweet. Great. This has been so much fun. Thank you for the new idea to do this, your own. It's been fun. Really great. Hope you guys have had fun.
Yes, we did. Thank you for having us.
Good. And keep sharing your good times on the tip of Cape Cod there.
Thank you.
I know it's all about to get wild and crazy for the next few weeks, and that's good. That's what you want there. That's what you want. Well, good. Well, thank you so very much for being here. It's just been delightful, and I knew it would work out, and it's worked out perfect. It's been better than we had all thought, and it's just really fabulous. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your patience with our technology.
Oh, sure. It's part of the journey, right? Part of the journey. Part of the journey. So good. All right. See you guys. I know you got one more song as we close out later, and we've got Todd next week as our musician. So off we go. A big thank you once again to Todd and your own for bringing their love and their light and their wisdom and their fun to our service today. A big thank you to the one and only Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt for sharing her insights and her wisdom and her light with us. And just as you heard us engage with each other, we were on a road trip recently, 4 hours almost each way, and it was like this the 4 hours each way. So we just talk and 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 laugh and talk and talk and laugh. So you know how much I love you. So thank you, thank you. So want to say a big thank you to Travis Smith for being supportive today with us with our helping us with all of our technology and audio, and a big thank you to Robert Hensley taking care of our social media from afar, and a big thank you to each and every one of you for being here today. I want to remind you that our new app is up and running in the App Store. It's just fantastic in its simplicity and its ease, and it has a wealth of stuff of resources that you can use there. Please avail yourself of that. You can Google Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, or look it up in the App Store and download everything. If you have used it before and would like to relaunch it, there's information, I believe, on our website on how to do that. And Robert also can send anyone that has questions about that a QR code that you can scan that will take you right to that relaunch of the app itself. A reminder that each and every Wednesday morning we have our weekday midweek morning meditation that takes place at 8:30 in the mornings. You can also find, and you do that through Zoom. All of that information can be found on our website and or through our weekly e-newsletter that goes out at the first part of the week, as well as a new thought text for the day that goes out each morning at 7:30 in the morning. So please avail yourself of all of that and stay on the lookout for any and all new things that are happening at the CSL-LA. I'd like to remind you that on July 9th, we will be back in the building in person. So I would love for all of you to make plans to be there with us. I'm going to put on the screen right now the ways to support us in conscious giving. You can know that all that is donated is greatly appreciated and acknowledged, and as we each choose to stay in the flow of the abundance of the universe, we know that that which we give returns to us multiplied abundantly. There is if you go to the website csl-la.org and click on donate, that will give you an option to do so. In our new app in the App Store, there's no longer the ways of the upper left bars and stuff, but you'll see on our home screen there's a donate tab that makes perfect sense. You can tap right there and that'll take you through, or you can mail in a check at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California 90038. As we each take a moment to support our community financially, we're going to have Todd and Yaron come back on and take us through our conscious giving song called Love Is My Decision.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart.
Yeah.
Love is my decision.
My decision.
You can tell me there, where to start.
And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Yeah.
Love is my decision, yeah.
It's my decision.
My decision.
Right here, right now.
Thank you, gentlemen. Much love to you. And so, big thank you once again to everyone here. We're going to close with Dr. Maureen Hoyt's going to do a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer or meditation, whatever feels right to her to close us out. At that point, we're going to disconnect from YouTube. So know that those that are on YouTube will say goodbye to you once that has taken place. And if you're on Zoom with us, we'll stay on for just a brief moment if you would like to turn your cameras on and say hello. And know that we close today by the same way we opened, is affirming that for each and every one of us, we are the perfection of the divine, right where we are. In this place, you are the perfection. Dr. Maureen?
All right, joining me in consciousness by going to that perfect place of peace within, that sacred space within that has never been violated, that knows nothing outside that pure essence of spirit. Because there is one life. That life is my life, that life is God's life, and that life is perfect right here and right now. It's an opportunity today for us to move out into our world in a grander and more glorious way than we ever have before. As we open to the idea that God so loved itself that it needed form to express, and it expresses as each one of us. We do, as Emma Curtis Hopkins said, go out there and act like it. As we go out there and be what we are intended to be on this earthly plane, we begin to experience a superlative life experience. Never, ever, as Dr. David Walker used to say, let your good get in the way of the best. So today, we go out into our world being the best me that we know how to be. Because, be ourselves, as Oscar Wilde said, everybody else is taken. So today, it's an opportunity to have a shift in consciousness, look at the world differently. Yes, there are challenges out there. There are difficulties abounding on so many different levels. And yet, as we step back as the observer of what's going on, we discover the peace and serenity and the grace that we know is inherent within each one of us. So let's take it from that space and consciousness, that everything that happens to us, happens for us, happens as us, and is us in the grand scheme of things. And so from this place in consciousness today, I joyfully receive and give thanks for the opportunity to be here with the CSL-LA peeps and to be supported by the beautiful background music and all the people in service to this event today. I know, as always, that spirit is in the mix, all is well, as we say together, and so it is, amen.
And so it is, amen. Thank you, Dr. Maureen. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We are going to disconnect, say goodbye to YouTubers, and for